Everything we thought we knew about the Great Pyramid may have just been shattered. For thousands of years, this ancient structure stood in silence, guarding secrets buried deeper than stone, deeper than history itself. It was believed to be fully explored, mapped, understood. But in 2026, something changed. Using advanced scanning technology capable of seeing through solid rock, scientists uncovered anomalies, vast, hidden voids where no rooms were supposed to exist. Spaces too large to be accidental, too precise to be natural, and too mysterious to ignore. What lies inside these newly discovered chambers could redefine not only ancient Egyptian engineering, but the limits of human knowledge itself. Because this isn't just about what's hidden inside the pyramid. It's about what those hidden spaces were built for, and why they were never meant to be found. The desert is silent. No wind. No movement. Just the towering presence of the Great Pyramid of Giza rising against the horizon like something that was never meant to belong to this world. For over 4,500 years, it has stood there, immovable, impenetrable, and we believed, fully explored. Every chamber mapped. Every corridor measured. Every secret uncovered. Or so we thought. Then, in 2026, something impossible appeared. It didn't come from a shovel or an expedition team. It came from particles, subatomic messengers falling constantly from the sky. Scientists used a technique known as muon tomography, a method so precise it can see through hundreds of meters of solid stone. What they found was not just unexpected. It was deeply unsettling. Hidden within the pyramid's core were voids. Not cracks. Not structural gaps. But enormous, clearly defined empty spaces. Some stretching longer than a commercial airplane. Others positioned with such deliberate alignment that randomness could no longer be an explanation. These chambers were not part of any known blueprint. In fact, they existed where no architect had ever predicted anything should be. And that's when the questions began. Why would a civilization, working with tools we consider primitive, construct massive hidden chambers inside one of the most precise structures ever built? Why conceal them so deeply that it would take modern particle physics to detect them? And more disturbingly, why were they never meant to be accessed? The pyramid was never just a tomb. That idea has been quietly unraveling for decades. No mummy has ever been found inside the Great Pyramid. No definitive burial artifacts. No inscriptions explaining its purpose. Instead, what we see is something far more complex, an architectural anomaly that defies both ancient and modern logic. Now, with these newly discovered chambers, the mystery has expanded beyond anything we expected. Because these spaces are not random. They are positioned along critical structural axes. Aligned with internal corridors that seem to direct movement, not of people, but of something else. Energy? Sound? Pressure? Theories begin to collide, each more unsettling than the last. Some researchers suggest these voids were part of a stress relief system, designed to prevent collapse. Others argue they served a ceremonial or symbolic purpose, hidden from human access but central to the pyramid's function. But there is a third possibility. What if these chambers were never meant for the living? What if they were part of a system we don't yet understand, a system that required emptiness, silence, and perfect geometric isolation? A system that only reveals itself when viewed through technologies that didn't exist until now. Because here's the truth that no one can ignore. We didn't discover these chambers by exploring the pyramid. We discovered them by looking through it. And that changes everything. If entire rooms can exist inside the most studied structure on Earth, undetected for thousands of years, then the real question is no longer what is inside the pyramid. The real question is, what else have we completely missed? At first, the discovery of hidden chambers inside the Great Pyramid seemed like a triumph of modern science. But as researchers began to analyze the data more deeply, something unexpected happened. The more they understood, the less it made sense. Muon tomography didn't just reveal empty spaces. It revealed precision. These voids were not scattered randomly like imperfections in stone. They followed patterns, mathematical, deliberate, almost engineered with an understanding of structure that rivals modern design. Positioned above the Grand Gallery and deep within the pyramid's core, the chambers appear to interact with the architecture itself, as if they were part of a larger, invisible system. To understand this, scientists turn to structural analysis. The Great Pyramid contains over 2.3 million stone blocks, each weighing between 2 to 15 tons. The pressure exerted by this mass is immense, comparable to forces used in industrial compression systems today. Traditionally, it was believed that hidden voids might act as relieving chambers, distributing weight to prevent collapse. But the newly discovered spaces don't behave like simple engineering solutions. Their size, symmetry, and placement go beyond necessity. It's like finding an empty cathedral hidden inside a mountain, with no entrance. And then came the measurements. When researchers mapped the internal geometry of the pyramid, they found something astonishing. The entire structure aligns with an accuracy of less than 0.05 degrees to true north. Its proportions mirror complex mathematical constants, including ratios close to pi and the golden ratio. These aren't rough approximations, they are precise, intentional. Now combine that with hidden chambers that seem to follow the same geometric logic. Suddenly, the pyramid doesn't look like a tomb. It looks like a machine. But a machine for what? One theory suggests acoustic engineering. The internal corridors of the pyramid can amplify sound frequencies in unusual ways. When low-frequency vibrations pass through stone, they can resonate, creating standing waves. The hidden voids may have acted as resonating chambers, amplifying or stabilizing these vibrations, like the body of a massive instrument. Another theory points to thermodynamics. The desert environment causes extreme temperature shifts between day and night. Stone expands and contracts. Air moves. Pressure changes. The chambers could have been designed to regulate internal airflow, maintaining stability over thousands of years. But there is a more controversial hypothesis. Some physicists believe the pyramid may have interacted with natural electromagnetic fields. The Earth itself produces a constant background of energy, weak, but measurable. Certain materials, when arranged in precise geometries, can influence how energy moves. Quartz-rich limestone, like that used in the pyramid, has piezoelectric properties. It can generate electrical charge under pressure. Now imagine millions of tons of stone, perfectly aligned, under constant compression. And inside it, empty chambers acting as nodes. Suddenly, the idea becomes difficult to dismiss. But then came the twist. When simulations were run using modern computational models, something unexpected appeared. The pyramid, as it exists, is not optimized for any single function, structural, acoustic, or electromagnetic. Instead, it sits at the intersection of all three. As if it was designed not for one purpose, but for multiple, overlapping systems. And that raises a far more unsettling possibility. What if we are trying to understand the pyramid using modern categories, engineering, physics, architecture, when in reality it belongs to something far more integrated? Because the deeper scientists go, the clearer one truth becomes. We are not uncovering a simple answer. We are uncovering a system that we may not yet be capable of fully understanding. For centuries, the Great Pyramid was seen as a monument to death. A tomb. A symbol of power frozen in stone. But the deeper we look, the more that narrative begins to collapse. Because if the newly discovered chambers are not simply structural, not merely symbolic, then we are left with a far more unsettling conclusion. This was never just a monument. It was a system. And systems are built to do something. If the pyramid was designed to manipulate resonance, regulate pressure, or interact with natural energy fields, then we are no longer looking at ancient construction in the way we understand it. We are looking at a level of integration between geometry, material, and environment that feels disturbingly advanced. Not advanced in the sense of machines or electricity as we know them, but advanced in understanding. A kind of knowledge that doesn't separate physics from architecture, or science from philosophy. Because here is the implication that begins to emerge. The builders of the pyramid may not have been trying to create something we could easily recognize. They may have been creating something we could only rediscover. Think about that. A structure so precisely engineered that its true function remains invisible for thousands of years. A system that only reveals its deeper layers when observed with technologies that did not exist at the time it was built. It's almost as if the pyramid was designed to wait for us. But wait for what? Some researchers now suggest that the hidden chambers may still be incomplete in our understanding. That what we are seeing, these voids, these alignments, is only a fraction of a much larger network of relationships within the pyramid. Relationships that might extend beyond its walls, into the earth itself. Because the pyramid is not isolated. It sits on a plateau that interacts with underground geological structures. It aligns with celestial bodies in ways that are still debated. Its position, its orientation, its proportions, they all suggest intentional connection to systems far larger than the structure alone. And this is where the implications become almost philosophical. If ancient civilizations possessed a way of thinking that integrated the earth, the sky, and the structures they built into a single system, then what we are uncovering is not just lost technology. It is a lost way of seeing reality. A perspective where emptiness is not absence, but function. Where silence is not nothing, but potential. Where hidden chambers are not secrets, but essential components. And perhaps that is the most unsettling idea of all. Because it means that for thousands of years, we have been looking at one of the greatest creations in human history, and misunderstanding it. Not because we lacked intelligence, but because we lacked the framework to see it. Now, in 2026, that framework is beginning to crack. And as it does, the pyramid is no longer just a relic of the past. It becomes a message. A message encoded in stone, geometry, and space. A message that does not tell us what to think, but forces us to ask a different kind of question. Not how was this built, but what were we never meant to understand? Because in the end, the greatest mystery of the pyramid may not be what is hidden inside it, but what it reveals about us. That even with all our technology, all our knowledge, all our certainty, we are still standing at the edge of something ancient, silent, and infinitely patient. Waiting for us to finally learn how to see.